Well, there's one vehicle here on the Frankfurt Motor Show where I have to do some yoga exercises to show you it properly because it's so flat. That is the Mercedes-AMG Project 1. It's the first hypercar by Mercedes or Mercedes-AMG. And it has over 1,000 horsepower combined with the combustion engine. It's the one from Formula 1, 1.6 liter only, V6, plus electric engines, and then have this massive power output. There will mainly be the electric drive for the front wheels and then the rear wheels mainly for the combustion engine. That's the basic concept. And you can see for the wind drag, for example, aerodynamics, even the star, the Mercedes star in the front, is not 3D, it's just painted on the vehicle. Also the design is really dramatic, really eccentric. It's also different to other AMG supercars, for example, which have more floating lines, more elegance. So this one is really to bring the F1 car, the Formula 1 car, to the road, and Lewis Hamilton himself also was developing this engine together with the AMG engineers serving as a test driver. So also a very interesting aspect for that. We'll give you, some more information, a nice tour of this vehicle. We'll also have the head of AMG in the interview. I would say, let's take some more looks at this vehicle in full HD, full screen and full length. Let's go. So one more detailed look here in the front with those huge air intakes, and well, somehow there will be there's really a radiator behind it, and then they will transport the air right through. And I mean, here in this case, there's so much friction and still from the electric engines, or the electric motors, so to say, that you probably need even cooling for those. Top speed will be about 350 kilometers an hour, and acceleration 0 to 200 kilometers an hour, or 125 miles an hour, is 6 seconds. So normal figure where you need it to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. Pretty interesting. Slim headlights, for sure, to have this very dramatic look. A lot of carbon fiber use, of course, also for the chassis to bring down the weight of the vehicle. So let me move on further a little bit. We always check that we don't ruin the pictures for everyone else. So we always pay respect to other cameraman stuff. So you can see more carbon fiber use at the wheels also to reduce the wind resistance. Of course, carbon ceramic brakes for those 20-inch alloys. Are those actually 20-inch for the front? Because I've seen it was 20-inch for the rear. No, actually it's like in the AMG GT. 19-inch, sorry. 19-inch for the front and then 20 for the rear. I've seen the rear first. By the way, this very exposed side mirror you can see there, also with the carbon fiber, is also, one of the characteristics things of this very vehicle. So more carbon fiber in the lower part, also with those huge air intakes to the rear then, and this is then for the rear air intakes, they will be for the real combustion engine. And well, the interesting thing is, what does it say about AMG in general? They will also go in an electrified way. So there will be more electrified AMG vehicles. This one is the start with a hybrid now. And I think we can expect also full electric vehicles in the future, also full electric performance cars. And for sure, plug-in hybrid vehicles, or let's see, somehow electrified AMG series models. So this is also, the meta sense of this very vehicle, where the brand is heading to. And the thing is just they've realized that with electrification they can get even more performance. And a look at the rear, which is clearly the most impressive one. Look at this rear fin right in the middle. Also reminds us of Formula 1 technology. Wow. And then it's not really glass. I think it's just plastic glass to bring down the weight, where the engine is hidden then right there. And very interesting also from the exhaust. Look at this center exhaust right there. Overall, by the way, there are 4 electric engines in... it's always electric motors because engine is combustion engine. 4 electric motors for this very vehicle. And there will be 275 pieces built. And they're already sold out. So for a price of 2.275 million euros. Well, if you have it. So very limited customer base as always for hypercars. And if you don't know it yet, there's really a differentiation between supercars and hypercars. Just that hypercars even more horsepower, even more expensive, and so on. And lately in the last years, most recent years, there was really a race for new hypercars, Koenigsegg and also some, other small manufacturers. Also Porsche was joining the game then. And everyone wants to build the best hypercar. And also Ferrari with the LaFerrari. And now Mercedes said, those guys are playing around so much with that. Let's join the game. And now look into the interior. I mean, the first thing you see, those seats, they are so flat. They are really integrated in the vehicle. And microfiber racing surface as it should be. So very well designed too, also with those carbon fiber seats. And then from the rest of the design, you can see, towards the middle console there, 2 digital screens. So no analog gauges at all. In one screen, the middle one is probably, for the infotainment, lean towards the driver, and the other one then for speed and so on. So this is also a hint that it's not only for racetrack driving, but also really for a rich customer who also wants to enjoy some infotainment while driving, for example. What you can also see is this Formula 1 steering wheel. As you can't really say it's flat, it's really, not round at all. So really like in the Formula 1 car. Well, the engine is also from the Formula 1 car, and that's also really fitting for that then. Also, what I see is, the start-stop button to start and stop the engine is placed way in the middle console. So really in the very center of the vehicle. Also illuminated by some red lighting that this roaring engine can come to life. So really racing, driver focused, center focused. But, a little bit more infotainment than I would expect it, actually. But again, I think they've done it that also, the customer can maybe also use it for some city driving show off. And again, not only for the very racetrack. The question is really, will someone use that on the racetrack with a 2.275 million car? I'm not exactly sure. Are you one of the customers? Then tell me. And now I've just met the family Smets, and they have actually bought this very vehicle. And of course I want to hear why. Why have you bought this vehicle? Warum haben Sie dieses Auto gekauft?
Because it's so an exclusive car and only 275 cars, and we are one of the lucky one who can buy some cars. So it's very nice.
What was your motivation? Was war Ihre Motivation, das Auto zu kaufen?
Mijn ding is een ster in mijn hart. Mijn hart is een ster.
So you're really enthusiastic for Mercedes vehicle. You have also quite some more Mercedes vehicle.
Yes.
Sie haben noch mehrere Mercedes zu Hause, richtig?
De Mercedes is de beste investering dat man kan maken.
So obviously he's hoping to have a good investment also from this. So will you actually drive this vehicle, or will it just be like for museum?
Not yet. We didn't drive it, not yet, but we have all the other ones. So GT3 and everything we have. So from.
But are you actually, because there's always a discussion with so expensive cars, will they drive the vehicle, or will it just be like a museum piece?
Some of them is a museum for us, and some of them we drive.
Belegging.
Möchten Sie das Auto fahren? Want to drive this car, or just museum?
Ja.
Yes.
Ich bin te alt, maar mijn dochter gaat daarmee varen.
So they will actually drive it together, but of course, taking good care of it for sure, not too many kilometers. So thank you so much for meeting you here. And yeah,
Have a nice evening. Thank
have
you.
another fun with your vehicle then.
Thank you. Bye.
So many exhausting interviews for Tobias Moers, head of AMG, and therefore I'll start with a very easy question. The number one of this vehicle, will it be for you?
No. I don't know who's going to get it.
So if I want to be one of the customers, what do I have to do?
You have to sign in and you have to be on the list of our prospects and customers. And actually, most of them are sold. So we are a little bit overbooked.
Too bad. I don't know what I do with my about 3 million euros now. So tell me about your motivation to build a hypercar. Mercedes has waited quite a lot of time. And do you want to compete now, for the future? Or what's the motivation? What's your take on that?
The most important thing for us was showing the competency and the capability, what we can do when we team up as a team, together with mercedes-amg, Petronas in Brackley, and High Performance Powertrain in Brixworth. And so we teamed up, and it was very clear for us from the very first moment that if we're going to do a hypercar, it should be something different, something more future-oriented, and not another V8 or V12. And so we came to the decision to use the Formula One drivetrain and bring that to life street legal. So this gives you an intention how we define future of performance, which is very important for us. And we started with our 50 years of AMG with that in Geneva, with the four-door concept, GT concept, what we showed in Geneva, which was a plug-in hybrid as well, like that car.
So, just a little few customers will experience this very vehicle. But are there also benefits maybe the normal customer can take from the project of this vehicle, maybe a normal AMG customer?
It's kind of the proof point that Formula One technology is ready for streets. So it's, for example, we do have an electric turbocharger in there. Yeah? And this is technology we're going to transfer to standard and, so to speak, standard cars. Well, let's wait. It's going to take a little bit of a while, but that's going to happen.
So Project One reminds me a little bit of P1. Was it a little teasing from you to name it that way?
What is P1?
McLaren?
No. Project One was, it's team up with the Formula One teams, Project One.
Okay, and maybe the Project 2, will it be all electric?
Maybe take in 2 years' time or something like that. No, I don't know.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll see.
You're welcome.
And congratulations.
Thank you.
And now we're talking to Gordon Wagener, head of design. Tell us, what is different from this hypercar to the normal Mercedes or Mercedes-AMG design language?
Well, first of all, I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that we did that car, because stuff like that happens only like every 50 years. So it's a big opportunity and it's a big responsibility to do that hypercar. And so, of course, we ask ourselves, what can be different? What makes this car standing out of the crowd to be the hypercar? And I think the solution is that, like we treat each and every other car, we do less rather than more, because most of the hypercars, they try to grab attention with a lot of features, busy stuff. A Mercedes must not do that. The Mercedes stands of itself, so eventually we came up with something what you see in the back here, a beautiful body, a beautiful shape, a very clean shape that works without any line. Basically, we have these 4 hubs as the theme around the car. We have a fantastic proportion, and the car carries the spirit of all Mercedes race cars of 100 years of history into that outer shell. So we combine that here in this beautiful sheet metal, even though it's carbon, and we combine it with all the aero parts and contrasts, which are not styling. They all have a reason. They all have an aerodynamic function, such as these vents coming out here, which lead the airstream around the car into the rear. So everything you see in black has a function. Active, passive spoilers that, of course, help to do the aerodynamic function of this car. So it's, again, along our philosophy, it's a mixture of beauty and intelligence.
Does it mean that in the development process, designers and engineers had to play, even more together to make this possible, to work even closer? For example, there's the example you've shown.
Well, designers and engineers always have to work together to make things happen, of course. And we did very successfully here, especially in that project, of course, where it's like a race car is very much about function, and Toby Merce from AMG is a true race car driver and somebody who knows how to engineer a race car. And of course, what comes first in every design is the proportion, and this is where we have a serious word in, and that's what makes this car so spectacular. First of all, the proportion that you see, the upright windshield, the fast back going into the rear here, the low shoulder that's actually below the wheels that allows us to come up with this very unique theme of these 4 bubbles over the wheels, a theme which we originally presented with the, if you remember, the 2-3 years ago, the GT6 video game race car, the GT6 car. So that was the first time we showed that theme, and now we brought it into the street.
Do you see any influence coming from this vehicle to future, let's say, normal AMG models, or will it be like standalone car and has nothing to do with the rest of the design language?
Well, of course, it's a lead car for the future of AMG, and first time you see that car doesn't have a Panamericana grille in the front, which we just established as the signature for AMG as becoming a pure sports car brand. But of course, this car is different in many ways from proportion, from many other ways. So some things will be able to translate into the future AMG lineup, and some things will be standalone.
If you look at this 2D Mercedes star, for the aerodynamics, isn't your heart bleeding as a designer seeing that?
Well, that was our idea actually to take that theme from Formula One, to reduce the weight, to improve the aerodynamic, and so come up with a star that is just onto the bonnet.
So you're fine with it?
Again, we created it. We transferred that idea from the Formula One racing onto the street. Like, this is the idea of the entire car, to translate the success we are having on the racetrack, dominating Formula One for years now, and to eventually fulfill the promise and bring a car on the street, and this is standing here.
Okay, thank you so much for the insight.
Thanks.
And by the way, if you're interested in sustainability, 25 kilometers should be the pure electric range, if that plays any major role in this project here. However, I think, that you can always argue, does it make any sense to build hypercars? Well, first of all, there's a market for that. And the second thing is, what could you take any good from it? Because usually, for what do you need 1,000 horsepower? But then again, this can also serve as a technology example and maybe boost technologies where then later on also cheaper cars can profit from. That could be, what you can take from this very vehicle. And of course, I would like to hear your opinion. Is this your favorite hypercar now? Or do you have another favorite hypercar? Post it in the comments and stick to Autogefühl with Thomas or with one of my colleagues. Thank you so much.